we go.
There we
So,
go.
all right. Good morning and good evening, wherever you are in this world, whatever time you're on. Welcome. Today is going to be our first accountability call with Liam. Liam, if you want to say hello.
Oh,
And this accountability call, we're going to run through some questions. So, an introduction and understanding Liam, setting a baseline, identifying key strengths and weaknesses, exploring goals and aspirations, and planning for success. And then wrapping up and setting expectations. So, you'll find with this accountability call that you're going to get to know him. You're going to understand the trials and tribulations that he's faced and is facing. And then you're also going to understand how he's managed to overcome them and where he is in his journey. So, you should be able to find value in this call, no matter where you are on your journey, because there's always something to learn and take advice from. So, without further ado, Liam, I'm going to start by asking you what inspired you to start trading and what are your ultimate goals?
what inspired me to start trading? It's probably freedom is probably the biggest thing. Like being able to travel and earn money from wherever, I guess. Um, is something I've always seen. So I guess it's always been stuck in the back of my mind. But yeah, I think freedom's the biggest thing for me that inspired me. Um, I don't even think it was about the money, to be honest. Is probably just being able to travel and enjoy your life while you're earning money, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, what was the other question? Freedom.
What are your ultimate trading goals, or what are your ultimate goals
Oh,
if it's trading?
uh, goals would probably just be to be consistent with it really and stay profitable. Um, and being able to travel while trading, I guess. Um, I suppose they're my goals with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, consistency is a very good one. Um, and that actually brings me on to the second point really quite well. So, how would you describe how your trading is going at the moment? What are some setbacks and what are some things that you're finding are going very good?
Yeah, training's going really well at the minute. You know, because I have been more consistent with it now. Um, Setbacks at the minute, I don't really think there is any setbacks that I've been having. Every day's like been getting better and better, but that's more down to having a lot more membership calls with you guys, and obviously up in them. So honestly, at the moment, everything's going well.
That's good.
That's to hear.
I liked before how you said that you on the previous question, how you were saying that your reasons weren't for money. And that's one big thing I've noticed, obviously, with our mentorship, has been a very good factor for your successes. You haven't been driven for the money. Obviously, we all want to make money, and trading is about ultimately making money, but you've not had this attachment, and it's been more of the process and for the freedom. So that's obviously going to be what's going to take you further because if all you're after is the money, then you're going to face a lot more issues. So
Definitely, I don't think I probably would have got this far into the journey if it was for money. I may have given up. You know, I don't know what my situation would have been, but obviously I was in a lucky situation before, so I guess I didn't have to worry about the money side of things. But I think if you're always driven for money at the start and you don't see the results in the first 6 months, maybe it might put people off a bit.
yeah, definitely. So it actually again links very perfectly to the next question. So the next question is, what has been your biggest challenge or frustration in trading so far? And before you go ahead and answer that, I'd like to say is I know you've got quite a few years of knowing about trading. So is it about 3, 4 years
Yeah, something
when you
like
first found it?
that.
So
Yeah.
when you first found it, when you first started it, would you say the reasons you were not able to maybe be committed fully or consistent enough to keep doing it? Do you reckon that was maybe because of money at the time or anything like that?
Yeah, probably. I think to start with, same as everyone, you come across these sites and then end up doing these signals and you end up making a bit of money and you think, oh yeah, I'm onto a winner now. I'm gonna be a millionaire or something. And then it quickly goes the other way because you just end up gambling essentially because you don't know about risk management and whatever. I understand that's frustration because I didn't really know enough about it then anyway. But that was like the first year, I guess. And then after that was obviously just trying to learn as much as I could. But frustration wise, have I had anything or any setbacks? Don't know really. I mean, I suppose it when you've got the right mentor and stuff, you shouldn't really be having that many setbacks anyway, I guess, because they're obviously there to help you through that. So there's a hard one.
Well, okay, well, what about a challenge? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be in an aspect of directly trading related. It can be trying to trade with things going on in life, these sort of things.
Yeah, I guess recently, you know, through selling my business and relationship wise and stuff, that definitely took effect in it. But I think it would take effect to anyone,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
any job as well or any business, whatever you do. So I guess that's a challenge that I was facing while trying to learn and trade. Um, I guess that's one thing that can throw you off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You mentioned before that at the start it was like gambling, and it's like that for all of us, how we usually start. But compared to that, what is your trading system like now? What is your plan like, and how do you approach the markets? Obviously, Tom can check you on this.
Yeah, no, obviously it's more strict now and rules in place, and just got to make sure you follow them rules and follow your strategy, I guess. So, I would class it as gambling at all now because, obviously we're doing all the steps that we should be. So, um, yeah, I guess it was just gambling to start with, and now it's more like say just following your system and following your rules and just doing what you know works, I guess.
Yeah, no, that
Would you be
makes
able
sense.
to tell us, obviously, very briefly and very quickly, your trading plan? So, what does it include, simply?
Like my strategy or
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so obviously trading the silver bullet at the minute, which is really good, really quick and easy, and quite simple, I think, to understand and learn. Um, so yeah, we just wait for liquidity sweeps, stuff like that, SMTs, fair value gaps, all that kind of stuff. It's not too complicated. We don't use loads, do we? I guess don't use
Yeah.
loads of stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess it's an hour every morning, so it's quite chill.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take up a lot of your time. Like what when we first start trading, we perceive that you have to be in front of your charts all day, don't we? And I
Yeah,
remember, I think that was one thing that I remember when first told you about the silver bullet, you quite liked about it was you don't have to be, even for the London kill zone, for example, it's still 3 hours. Whereas you got this silver bullet session where it's an hour and you can just be done for the day after you've done that. So,
yeah. I think probably actually helps your trading more by actually only being on the charts an hour a day or an hour a day live, an hour a day back testing. That's probably all you actually need, especially when you've already got your strategy and everything in place. Because I think probably some people definitely overtrade and overlook at the charts, and then they start seeing different things, and they just start to um, get in a bit of a muddle in their head. So
100%. I mean,
Yeah,
me and have both been there, as I'm sure Ayrton will agree. And with training the silver bullet, you notice that, well, like you said, it makes it a lot better because less is more in trading. You're
yeah,
not on the charts all day, and when you're over the charts for let's say even 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever, there's a lot more pressure to have something happen. You're almost like showing up to a job, whereas you got this hour, you show up, trade or no trade, you're done for the day. And what you'll find is when you start trading other pairs, you'll notice that from the silver bullet, you'll have a positive effect on them. Me and Ayrton have found this as well, is that trading
definitely.
a bullet makes you want to trade them less. So now we're both waiting for, trades that are way more in tune with what we know works best. We're waiting for those quality setups on gold and GU that we know are going to hit instead of before maybe when we weren't trading the silver bullet, being quick and decisive with that, we'd be showing up and thinking, okay, right, we've got 7 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. What's going to occur in this time? So, yeah, definitely a positive impact. So, how do you manage your risk in trades, in your trades?
Um, so I always aim for a 2 to 1, I guess. Risk no more than 2 trades a day. Um, which is only kind of in recent anyway, because I always used to just go for 1 trade a day. Um, I guess following the rules for one is obviously managing your risk, making sure you're not breaking them. Um, yeah, I guess they're the main things.
And
Yeah,
for example, what is your risk in terms of your drawdown? So, are you risking, let's say your drawdown is 10%, that's the max drawdown. How much are you risking per trade in equivalence to that?
250 per trade at the minute we're risking. Um, so yeah, that's what we're doing at the moment, and that would be on a 50K account.
So that's the equivalent to 10 losses, isn't it?
Yeah,
Drawdowns, yeah, 2.5. So,
which
nice.
is pretty perfect because you guys have worked on it and you guys know the max drawdown, so you're pretty safe within there. And
yeah,
so you obviously know the importance of tracking these trades, and especially now that you're forward testing a bit more, keeping a journal and all of that. So how important have you found tracking your trades, journaling, and what process or like what app or anything do you use to actually journal these trades?
yeah. So journaling's been good. I've been using Notion. It's good to journal because I found before when I was just taking trades and if there was a loss, you just go on to something different. But when you've had a loss or a win and then you journal it straight after, it's like you just put it into your brain and it's just good to like speak about it to yourself on why it lost or why it won or if you didn't have a trade and what your emotions were and stuff. Um, so journaling straight after a trade has been quite helpful actually.
Yeah, I've definitely found it to be one of the big things that's changed my trading for the better. Just keeping track, and sometimes in trading, especially when you're starting, it's nice to just almost vent about losses, even if it's not a loss that's a mistake or anything like that. Sometimes losses just can be overwhelming. So having a place to write those down, kind of analyze it and see that you're not actually doing anything wrong is a good thing. Or if you are doing something wrong, you can then go
Yeah.
over that.
Yeah, it's a good way to keep yourself in check because then you can check that you've actually been following your rules. And if you haven't been following your rules, then it's potentially why you're losing or losing more often than you're winning anyway.
You spot the patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say is your strongest like asset as a trader? Would you say so? We can go technicals, like how are you finding it actually in the markets, and then mindset wise as well. What would you say is the best part of your mindset for trading?
I think at the moment, probably my emotions are pretty in line. I'm pretty good with those, I guess. Um, Again, that probably comes down to the fact that I'm not really too bothered about the money. Um, so that's definitely helps, and I'm not relying on it or anything like that. Um, Technical analysis and stuff, that's only really, started to get better recently with, I guess, forward testing and back testing and stuff and just putting everything into place. But um, yeah,
Yeah, definitely collecting data, forward testing, all that stuff, uh, as well as helping you understand your trading. It definitely helps you understand yourself and kind of settle into the markets and understand all of that.
yeah, definitely.
That's one of the things most people underestimate with trading is that it's all about learning the technicals, learning about your strategy and the data. And I'd honestly say that it's probably not even half of it. The majority of it is actually all up in your noggin. You have to learn about yourself more than your system and your data because it's easy to, do 3 years of back testing and then have, okay, I know my max drawdown, my max win streak and all that. You have that data now, but you don't know. It's a lot harder to go into your mind to have deep introspection and think about why you feel or think a certain way when you win, when you lose, when you don't trade. So obviously mastering the money side of it, like you have now, the mindset you have makes it a lot easier for you. You only have to master really the the system, and then nip things in the bud as they appear, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So, what area of trading, so for example, strategy, mindset, or execution, do you want to improve the most, or you feel like you might need to improve the most?
Um, what do I need to improve the most? I think they're kind of all kind of level at the minute. I don't really think I don't think like one's better than the other. I think obviously everything needs to still improve. Like probably, always need to improve. But yeah, maybe executing the trade sometimes. I mean like this week I only had two trades. There probably would have been other times to get in. Um, but yeah, I think everything's kind of on a level playing field at the moment.
That's good. I mean, it's how you want it to be. I guess if you've got one thing drastically better than the other, it's almost kind of pointless because you
Yeah,
can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you've not got the ability to apply it, if you've spent all the time trying to learn about every concept, but then you haven't worked in your psychology at all, it's useless. So being
yeah.
on a level playing field is going to be way more effective and well allow you to make things work. So I guess the next question does link in quite well. So I guess you may struggle to answer this one as well, but are there any habits or behaviors that you think maybe are holding you back?
Um, Habits or behaviors? No, honestly, I don't think there is. Like, I think I've been doing everything correctly, and especially everything you've taught me, even from comparing trades, it's quite like it's a bit, funny how we were looking at the same things. We pretty much got the exact same charts on,
Yeah.
um, and the same analysis, drawn on.
Yeah.
Um, but is there any habits? I don't think so.
Okay, let
What
me.
about what about getting frustrated at FX replay?
FX replay, that hits a different part of my brain. So,
So I'll flip the question for you. Are there any habit behaviors that you think are actually doing you favors? So what what habits or behaviors could someone listening right now hear from you that potentially they maybe could do with adopting or maybe they should have?
habits or behaviors, I think definitely number one thing is get up in the morning and actually do it for one. Um, Honestly, I don't really know. I don't really think you shouldn't really have any habits or behaviors anyway. I don't think when it comes to this. I don't think I do. Like, do you have you spotted any that I have?
Well, no, I'm saying good things. I'm not saying
Okay.
negatives. I'm saying, so for example, good habits being you check the chart at the same time, or behaviors being that despite FX replay sometimes stressing you out, maybe you still use it as motivation. I'm not sure.
Like a good example is me and Tom find for us it's a good habit to get up early in the morning, hit the gym, and then come to the charts because we're in a bit of a better, like more awake essentially. So anything kind of along those lines.
Yeah, I think definitely getting up early and getting yourself ready before going on the charts is important because you can't just really roll out of bed and just load it up and expect to just trade straight away.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think good habits. I suppose is following your rules and stuff like that is obviously good habits to have because that's what you want. Um, I'm just
definitely.
trying to think of any bad habits.
But following your rules is like the key good habit.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good habit to have. I could probably
Yeah,
I'd probably feel more awake if I went to the gym or whatever in the mornings and then came back and then did it. That'd probably suit me a bit better to be honest. But yeah,
yeah. Maybe it's worth a shot. See.
yeah, I could try it.
Um, so assuming you continue to act on these good habits, which I'm sure you will, what are your like goals for say a month from now? So what are we? 18th of Jan. So 18th of February. What do you want to be able to like look back and say, okay, this is the progress I've made?
Yeah, I definitely want to be say a month from now. you know, that with the 50K funded, I'd probably definitely want to get onto that. I think goals as well is obviously just to stay consistent with my forward testing and back testing. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Um, so they're my goals really, is just staying consistent with it and then seeing the good result at the end of it.
Yeah, well, that's a good goal to have. Just you keep mentioning consistency, and it's good to hear you saying that because I don't think there's a more valid term when it comes to trading. Consistency in every part of it just is what will get you there. Just have to keep going. Um, and now to extend that a bit further, where do you see yourself in a year? And then we'll push on further. Obviously, it's quite far away, but let's say 5 years. What would you like to be able to say if someone goes like, "Are you a trader? How's successful? How much do you make? How's it going?" All that kind of questions. What would you like to be able to say?
Yeah, definitely want to be 6 figure funded, you know, within a year. I think that's definitely possible. Um, you know, it's hard to put like how much I want to make from it, I guess, within a
Yeah,
year. Um, but I guess it's, you know, it'd be nice to, you know, to have consistent payouts anyway every month, would be one thing. Um, so yeah, just, you know, obviously just scale up my funding and then just have consistent payouts, I guess.
That's a good one. Consistent payouts is really the key, isn't it? Because obviously trading can be inconsistent. So by
Yeah,
getting the consistent payouts, it means that when there's a bad month or whatever, you've had the consistency previously to survive that.
yeah.
And did you say 5 years there, or was that just the 1 year?
For five, well,
So in
my
5 years, so that was your 1 year, 6 figures, consistent funding. In 5 years, let's say you were at an event, a networking event, and someone asks you, well, where's your trading career, or how's your trading career? What do you want to be at in that point in time?
I guess the same kind of thing, but just on a bigger scale. Just keep growing it. And yeah, I suppose have my own funding like we spoke about before. Because obviously there's benefits to that. But yeah, just keep growing it really and just get bigger payouts and bigger accounts. Um, just to make as much money as possible, I guess.
Sounds like a good goal to be having. So yeah, big personal account by that point is definitely something you could do in the next 5 years, I'm sure. So removing all those restrictions you do get from prop firms. So the next question is going to be, how do you see the mentorship you're receiving helping you achieve these goals?
Yeah, it'd be amazing to be honest. I think you know, if it wasn't for the mentorship, then you know, I probably wouldn't be trading now at all, to be honest, because of other things that have got in the way and stuff. Um, so it's good to have a mentor in, I suppose, anything in life really, because it keeps you accountable and it keeps you doing that one thing, especially if maybe you're not that strong-minded or you're easily swayed. So yeah, definitely mentorship's been great. And then obviously the last couple of weeks we've upped the sessions, which I've probably seen the biggest growth once we've had more sessions. Um, so yeah, can't really fault it at all. Don't know how long we've been going now since I
Been
started.
4 or 5 months, I think now, something like
Yeah,
that. It's been quite a bit. Yeah, it's been going well. I've definitely noticed the ability to make sure you're staying more on track and obviously keeping things more consistent with the more, the increased amount of sessions has been the main thing I've noticed. So being able to obviously check in more regularly and nip things in the bud straight away has been more effective for sure.
yeah. I think I definitely could have got further ahead in a short space of time, but that was only down to my own self, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so it just depends how much work you want to put into it. But yeah, definitely the increase in sessions has helped loads. Um, but I think that's quite a good result. If we can get funded by, you know, next month, then within, you know, a 6 month period, that's quite fast, I'd say.
Yeah. No,
Since
I reckon the rate you're going at, so with obviously back testing going pretty well, and then you've obviously got your forward testing, which is also going well, and the fact that you're not in some emotional state, you're level-headed, and like you're saying before, you have all your, I don't know how to word it, but all your different requirements for being profitable and trading, you're at this kind of level playing field. I think that definitely in a month's time you can be on a funded account trading. Um, so which is quite nice to see. So these accountability calls, they occur every 6 to 8 weeks. So the reason being is we do a call now, and then so obviously we asked you what your goal is for a month's time. The idea is that we have this, and then we speak to you in at least a month's time away, and the idea is we're accountable. We're able to look back, see have you achieved the things you said you're going to achieve? Why didn't you? Why did you? What went well? Could you have set more goals and so on? So the next question is for the section of planning for success. So planning to obviously achieve these goals we set out. What specific actions will you commit to achieving your goals? So, for example, funding and any other goals you have before we next call.
Yeah, so I suppose just forward testing is obviously very important to get to that goal of being funded because that's going to show, kind of what I'm going to be doing anyway on a live account. Um, so that's probably the most important thing um, to reach my goal. Obviously, carry on with all the sessions that we should be having. That's obviously going to be important as well. Um, so yeah, I'd say they're the two things really.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, something that's very obtainable. You can definitely achieve that. So how will you track your progress and hold yourself accountable in the process of committing to those actions to complete your goals?
Um, say that again. Sorry, there's someone just knocked my door and the doorbell rang.
It's all good. So, how will you track your progress and hold yourself accountable to achieving those, making sure you do everything you just said?
Yeah, so obviously just tracking it on Notion. Um, for my forward testing. Um, so yeah, as long as I'm tracking that and making notes of everything, then it should go well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you know exactly what you need to be doing. I guess another thing that will help is calls, even if it's not just saying with us, like all kind of calls, talks with your brother as well, because he's obviously finding his way in trading. Then all these kind of discussions, calls will help you keep accountable because you're always having to explain where you are, what you're working on. Um, so, would you say, is there any more resources or tools or support that, say, we could be giving you or that you'd need help finding online that you think could help? Or do you think you're kind of at a point now where it's just about doing the work and keeping consistent?
Yeah, I think it's just about doing the work, keep it consistent. I think I've got kind of all the resources that I need anyway for this. I think I've got all of those. Um, so yeah, just being consistent, do the work, and yeah, it should uh, it should come nicely then.
I think for this question, I think there's one word that you've said a lot that I mentioned before that pretty much sums it up. So, in one word, what would you describe as success for our next check in?
Yeah, so consistency, I guess.
Yeah, just keeping consistent, keeping at what you're doing. I think
With
that's the
confidence.
perfect word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think
Um,
it's definitely more important with this as well. Anyway, you know.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely that.
Yeah. Like we are saying for the question before as well, there's not really much more you can be watching, reading, learning. Obviously, checking up on things can always help, but you don't need to really learn any new concepts. So consistency is key for this. Just continuing, not wavering from what you're doing so far because it's going good.
Yeah, I definitely do check up on things, and even though stuff I already know, I still do watch videos, or like in one of our sessions the other day, I was asking Tom a few different bits and bobs that I already know, but it's just nice to go over them and
Of course.
just reprint it into your mind.
Yeah, consistently reprinting it in your mind. Yeah, definitely consistently hearing it again. And it's like one of those things sometimes it might feel, a bit silly or strange as to why I ask you to do it, but when I ask you to just even explain the trades, explain your system, explain your strategy, these things are consistently getting used to your mind, understanding your system, like night and day. You can draw it on a whiteboard, you can say it instantly, understand all the concepts you use. So consistently thinking about it, consistently doing it, consistency, like you said, is the best word you can really use to apply to all
Yeah.
different things. So finally, to end it, it's not really a question, but is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Anything you'd like to discuss, clarify? Anything else you want to get out there?
Um, no, not really. Um, no, just just want to say how great the mentorship is, I guess, and obviously it's a good community that it's not just you meet a lot of people and make friends and stuff, so that's another benefit towards everything. So yeah, it's really good.
We appreciate that. It's very kind.
Yeah, very much.
And I had actually a question I just thought of on the spot. So off script, I guess you could say. What is one piece of advice you would have given Liam 6 months ago, knowing what you know now and where you are now? And obviously bearing in mind that this isn't just for Liam 6 months ago, this could be for anyone.
Um, I'm gonna say it again, but I should have probably been more consistent to start with. Um, but then I did have things going on and stuff. Um, sometimes when you first start something and whatever, you can be a bit hit and miss, can't you? Especially when, maybe we were having one session a week. Um, you know, one session a week might have not have been enough because maybe 2, 3 days of the week you might have just slacked off a bit. So um it probably would have been maybe bumping the sessions up straight away um to really keep me in check, I guess. So that would have been advice, or advice to anyone that wants mentorship would be, if they can, then just try and get as many as possible. Obviously, depending on what stage they're at, I guess, in trading.
Okay, that's great. And I'd like to like you to say one, let's say mentorship's not on the table. So forget mentorship for a second. So, how you were saying there, if one a week, 3 days of the week, you'd maybe slack off. What would you, again, like 6 months ago, what would you say your advice to that would be?
Uh,
What you'd say to yourself to avoid that maybe?
well, if I knew I was going to be in this position, you know, sort of, then I guess I probably would have worked a bit harder. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, just not slacking off on those days that you can't be asked, I guess.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
I'll do it tomorrow.
It all comes back to consistency
Yeah.
Hard work.
and hard
Yeah,
work. Yeah,
hard
Yeah.
work beats talent and it pays off. Not necessarily day in, day out with trading. I'm not saying you're gonna try really hard in a trade, it's gonna be an A star and it's gonna play out and give you what you deserve. But over a long period of time, the hard work you put in, all the grafting, it does pay off. So
it does.
Yeah.
yeah, some yeah, some good advice. I appreciate that, Liam. So
Yeah, thank you very much.
that is everything. So we look forward to catching up with you again in about a month or two's time, seeing how you've gone, whether you've achieved, whether you're trading on a funded account or not, and how that's going. And hoping you're gonna still be consistent as well, which is gonna be good. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've got now the amount of times I've said it. So
yeah, you've got to. So again, that's the point of this. So now you've told us the idea is you're accountable, and you're like, oh God, I'm gonna be on call these guys in, 6 weeks or so. I can't not have it happen.
I want to
So
be told off.
yeah, you don't want to be told. Yeah, have a stern word. No. Well, perfect. I mean, you just highlight the whole point of this, which is great. So appreciate your time with that. And yeah, I look forward to speaking to you again on the next one.
Yeah, perfect. I'll
All
speak
right,
to you soon.
great.